You won't hear about it on other networks, but we'll tell you the shocking details in a story that's becoming a major scandal for Democrats. Coming up next. A story that hasn't received much attention from the mainstream media is a major national security scandal for House Democrats. 44 Democrats employed a number of Pakistani nationals as internet technicians, who are now under investigation for allegedly gaining unauthorized access to congressional data, including classified information. The latest revelation, amazingly, Democrats apparently exempted those employees from background checks, didn't even check their backgrounds. One reporter has been doing great work digging up the shocking details. He's joining us now. His name is Luke Rosiak of the Daily Caller. Luke, I got to tell you, you've done some great work on this. But give us a synopsis of what's happening here, because you had 44 Democrats, including Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who's the head of the DCCC, the Democratic Congressional Committee. And they brought these Pakistani national in, and they just let them into the system and didn't ever bother to give a background check.
Right. The House policy says if you're going to give someone super user permissions on the House network, meaning they can read all of the members' emails, you got to do a background check. But they hired this guy Imran Awan, and then and his brother, and soon they put on other relatives too. And these guys had criminal records. They had a dozen lawsuits. They had ties to foreign officials. And they never even checked their backgrounds. And what happened next is the House Inspector General found that they made unauthorized access to House data. In other words, Congress was hacked, and you never heard about this. This is a shocking revelation.
There's missing hardware. 3 of these people were on the House Intelligence Committee. Democrats from the House, they're on the House Intelligence Committee. And this guy and his brother, I believe, got fired from McDonald's, for goodness sake. He was making like $165,000 a year from Congress, and he couldn't hold the job at McDonald's, right? Did I read that right?
That's right. And these are the Democrats who are constantly lecturing us about cybersecurity. They basically brought the fox into the henhouse, and the worst happened. Congress was hacked. And we've heard more about the hacks of Panera Bread and Under Armour in the last week than we've ever heard about this congressional thing. That's because breakfast muffins and underwear take cybersecurity more seriously than House Democrats. That's what we're learning.
Well said. Now, not only did they get in there, but they were in there for a long, long time, right? This is not something that just happened in a couple days. How long did this really go on?
Imran Awan started working for these guys in 2004, and by the end of it, in 2016, his whole family was on board working for 1 in 5 House Democrats. And so they could read all of those emails. And, you know, this is something that the Democrats basically covered up, and they actually let them stay on the network for 4 months after the Inspector General informed them of unauthorized access being made. So you have to think that it comes back to the narrative for Democrats. They don't actually care about hacking. They had this Russia thing they wanted to keep going. It was an inconvenient truth that Congress was hacked by Pakistanis at the same time, and so they withheld it from the public. And there was a lot of cover-ups in the 2016 election, but this is the most successful one.
And they were traveling overseas too, right? I mean, at one point, right, he goes overseas, then he comes back. Where does the case go from here? I mean, authorities are now on top of it supposedly, but we never hear anything about it. Where's it going next?
Well, Congress falsely called it a theft case. That's not what it was about. The Inspector General said this is about data going off the network. And the prosecutors started surveilling this guy, and he wired $300,000 to Pakistan and tried to flee the country. So prosecutors wound up charging him with moving that money overseas. But that basically seems like it's pretextual charges, and their next court date is going to be May 4th. And we're going to see if they're going to add the real charges. But if they don't, this is a cover-up afoot, full stop. And it's pretty hard to take Democrats seriously with their fundraising group, the DNC, because that's all it is, a fundraising group that was hacked, and they talk about it nonstop. What we're talking about here on the House side is their official U.S. government offices. Over
a long period of time, the Daily Caller that you work for has a great story on this if you want to read all the details. But this is truly a national security scandal, particularly with people on the Intel Committee. And then one of the things that happened is they got access to their personal emails as well. Luke, you've done great reporting on this. Keep it up. I look forward to reading more from you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.